Ranjit from Children America, the filmmaker behind the film. Congratulations on the film.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for attending. Could you tell me, to begin with, your connection to the film, as in what you're about in connection to the film, and how the story came about?
Yeah. In 2002, in the year 2002, on December 14th, 20 children and 6 adults were brutally murdered in Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown, Connecticut. And then our Congress did nothing after that. They didn't do anything, meaning they didn't pass any background checks. They didn't restrict guns for bad people. And so they should have done something so that they can prevent that kind of tragedy again. Yes. So basically we are where we are.
I remember it very well. I remember the event very well.
And then I thought, if children cannot move our Congress, so what will move them? So I started writing down all the children's issues, from education, technology, health, guns, and the impact of wars, and then the children of 9/11 first responders, how they were growing up. So I put all these things together, and also the politics of it, and put the movie. I put the movie together with the help of my eldest son, Ranjit Koka, and a lot of help and support from members of Congress, Congressman John Lewis, Congressman Patrick Murphy, Congressman Joe Sestak, and my son's school principal, Bethany Rowan, and our police chief, John Bruce.
All these senators you named, they're all Democrats, I assume.
I actually wrote letters to all the senators.
Yes.
And I wrote letters, that means emails, phone calls to 85 congressmen. My son wrote letters to President Obama, Vice President Biden, and Michelle Obama. A lot of people ask me these questions, but the people who responded, only I can take interviews, right? I cannot, I can only ask n number of times. I cannot exceed that. So thankfully, Congressman John Lewis, who worked with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., President Kennedy, and now President Obama, and he obliged, and he was very passionate about children's issues. And for example, we also covered children's health, environmental impact on children, because children will be living in a planet that is more polluted and toxic. But unfortunately, half of our Congress doesn't believe in climate change.
No, they didn't. I'm being careful what I say, but I think it's fairly well known that they are denialists, aren't they?
They are denialists. So we try to explain from a 4th grader what exactly is a global warming, and we got help from Jim Schoenbeck. He's an environmentalist. So, and then we also got help from the person who managed the Ebola crisis in Dallas. There was an Ebola scare, if you remember, in October of 2014, and his name is Judge Clay Jenkins. So he explained about current issues with children's health, and so it's basically the subject, although it's US oriented, the subject of children is universal.
Yeah, it's global. Yeah.
And for example, if you take the technology issue, children today have devices, and there is so much bad content on the internet, so they can access anything, and parents cannot monitor 24/7.
No, and I'm in that boat. I've got a 15-year-old daughter, and she's got an iPhone, and like all her friends, all her peers, and like you say, it's almost impossible. It is impossible, not almost, it is impossible. And the unfortunate thing is, even if I could, she could be around a friend's house. I've got no idea what they're looking at. It's just impossible. So if we going back to, if we can, for a moment, to Sandy Hook, as I say, I remember that very well. Why do you think? Because everyone made the right noises, politicians always do, but then of course it came to nothing, as we all know. But why do you think there is that intransigence in the US? Why do you think there is no sea change?
Because the foundation of
I know the Bill of Rights,
United States is right to bear arms, but that has nothing to do with making sure that innocent people don't die.
No.
So somehow there is this connection that people make, that whenever there is a tragedy like this, and they will connect it to the Second Amendment, and they don't do anything basically. So, but we got to protect the children at least, right? When children are being brutally murdered in an elementary school, and then our Congress doesn't do anything, that is not right. If a mentally incapable person is having a gun, that's dangerous.
Would you say it's fair that the Obama administration would like to see tougher gun controls, but Congress is blocking him, or do you think that's not fair?
No, it's basically, I mean, Congress right now it's basically dysfunctional. It's not working at all.
Yeah,
So-
I mean it's the longest stalemate in history, I think, isn't it?
So that's the situation right now, and recently they passed a bill, if I remember correctly, that even a terrorist can have a gun in US. They didn't restrict guns to even terrorists. That doesn't make any sense. So, and I mean those are first graders, right? 6 years, 7 years.
Yes,
I mean, if we cannot protect them, then whom are we talking about when we talk about freedom and protection and all those things? So,
Absolutely, yeah.
so that's the whole point.
So you had this idea together. You wrote to these congressmen. You had some replies, some encouraging replies. That obviously, I assume, drove you more to make the film. Did you have any issues making it? I mean, were there any problems putting the film together?
Problems in the sense I had to learn the entire art of filmmaking.
So this is your very first film?
This is my very first film, and I had to write down the script and go step by step. So what exactly I wanted to do, I knew what I wanted to do. So, but how to do it was the problem.
And
Was the challenge.
and what was your life before this? What did you do before you tried?
I am a consultant in a bank, so that's what I do. I do IT analysis work, banking analysis. So
It's a leap, isn't it?
yeah, so this I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I
you
took-
felt so strongly about it. Obviously.
Yeah, and I felt passionately about children's issues.
Mm-hmm.
And after the tragedy in Newtown, I couldn't sleep for a couple of days. So
Right.
it could happen to it could happen to my children also. It could happen to anybody's children.
And it was New England as well. I think that was
It's Connecticut.
Connecticut. Yeah. So yeah.
So then started writing down the script, and then I started learning how to hold the camera, how to make a film, and then how to edit and all those things. So slowly I learned and how to do the sound mixing, those kind of things, and finally we made the film, and I'm here.
And now you've made a film.
I made a film.
You love making films.
Uh-huh. Now I love making films. I'm thinking about a couple of other subjects.
More further documentaries, I guess.
For the documentaries and short documentaries.
Yeah.
This time, so I'm working. I'm taking my time, and let's see what happens.
And what was the most positive thing you found about making this film when you look back?
The most positive thing is meeting the families of 9/11 first responders, meeting those remarkable women of 9/11 first responders who did everything they could, who fought for their husband's life, and now who are raising their children by being a mother and father. So I mean, salute to those brave women, courageous women, remarkable people. So, and then John Field, who fought for the healthcare and compensation for the 9/11 first responders. Meeting him was an honor, and it was the entire New York trip for me and my son. Meeting those families was a big thing, basically, and covering each and every children's issues, and pushing Congress that why can't you help these children, because some of those parents have sacrificed their life for this country.
Yeah.
You got to provide them scholarships and jobs. So that's our duty. So I mean, in a way, the movie captured lot of issues from a children's point of view.
I mean, how challenging was that to use it from a child's point of view? Was that from the gap and go what you wanted to do? Was it always in your mind, okay, if I make this documentary, I want it to be the child or children asking the questions? I know the questions are scripted, I get that. But was that always your intention?
Yeah, from a child's perspective,
Yeah.
when an adult sees a film,
Yeah.
how does it look like? For example, that means just because children cannot vote, that doesn't mean their issues are not there.
Yeah.
So this film captured all those issues, and when the questions are asked to the members of Congress, so they understand the importance of those questions, and as you can see in the film,
Yeah.
they recognize that more needs to be done, and whatever is being done is not enough. So So that's a positive thing that comes out, saying that okay, this hasn't been done.
Absolutely, yeah.
And this should have been done. This should be done. So that's what they mentioned.
And what's been the reaction to this film?
Reaction in the sense, whoever saw the film.
Yeah, I mean generally. I mean, have you
generally they liked it, especially the 9/11 section. They liked very much, and they liked the whole presentation of children's issues, and they said it was more original, and then very detail oriented in terms of covering each and every issue, from education to technology to health, the guns, the impact of wars. Because when our leaders send our troops to war, what about those children?
Yes.
So you got to help those children, right?
Yeah.
See, the whole objective of the film is we got to take care of children. We got to take care of children of our troops whose parents have sacrificed for the country.
Yeah.
Children of 9/11 first responders,
Yeah.
by giving them scholarships and jobs, and also take care of children's issues like education, the health, the guns aspect of it, and the health aspect of it. For example, children's mental health, that's a serious issue.
Yeah.
So all these things, they need importance. So the first question we ask in the film is, out of 365 days, why doesn't Congress spend one full day to discuss children's issues? Because children are the future, right?
Yes.
At the end of the day, the planet that we are living behind, it's
going to be theirs.
It's their planet.
Yeah, it's going to be theirs. And looking back over the film, the whole process from start to finish, would you say that it's been as satisfying as you hoped, or better, or not quite?
It was very satisfying.
I mean, was it better than you'd imagined?
Better than I imagined. I mean, visualizing a film is one thing, actually making is another thing. I mean, you can write the script, you can write the narration part, and all those things is one thing. But when you actually meet people, when you actually do the interviews, when you actually make the film, when you actually edit the film,
Mm-hmm.
it's a different experience altogether. When I was editing the 9/11 section, I myself cried a couple of times.
It was so moving, yeah.
It was so moving and
Yeah,
so
also.
touching. And then I was thinking, a couple of nights I was just thinking, why didn't our Congress do much about this? Why didn't our leaders do more on these issues? So it was very touching.
It's very hard for me to have a point of reference because obviously, as you know, in the UK, we can't carry a gun. And when I see what, to me, you know, I'm choosing my words carefully because I don't live in America, of course. As an outsider, and I may come across as being naive, but I can't understand the intransigence of more being done, and I don't get it. I mean, I know there are groups and lobby groups in America that are obviously impeccably opposed to tighter gun control, which I won't name, but we all know they are. And you know, how many more tragedies do you need before anything? It's never going to change, is it? Really? Well,
if Newtown couldn't change, if those children,
Sandy Hook, yeah.
if the Sandy Hook Elementary School tragedy doesn't change, I really don't know what will change. But we should keep working at it. We should try, and this film is another attempt to try and move the needle.
Yeah. And I know you're saying you're working on another documentary or looking at what's the next one?
It's about data. I'm still writing the script, but I haven't completed yet. But it's about data and how. I mean, basically, you and I are just data. So, I mean, how does somebody know you and me? They know we are just piece of data.
But they know a lot about us.
Lot about us, and a lot of people know about us, and then we don't have control of our own data. So that's what I'm trying to do.
Well, the misuse of data and how easily accessible it is.
Yeah. So basically, that's pretty much it.
And what about a work of fiction? Is that something you wouldn't mind doing?
I want to do it in the future, but I need to look into so many aspects of it, like the cost aspect, the casting aspect.
Correct.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Yes, expensive.
So I need to understand my limitations also, and go step by step, and hopefully one day it will happen.
Okay, Sanjay, thank you. Thank you for
so
that.
much. Thank you.
Best of luck.
And growing up in a planet that is more polluted and toxic, impacting the air we breathe, food we grow, and water we fish. It might be too late by the time every member of the Congress believes in science. We need action now, or we will have nothing left to take action later.
There's no question that with over 7 billion people on the planet, overpopulation is driving not just climate change and global warming, but every economic and environmental ill right now that we're facing is due in some part to overpopulating the planet. And the amount of consumption and also the amount of waste that's being produced. And this is one of the huge reasons why we're seeing species being devastated and their habitats being exploited for logging purposes or more farmland because that's needed because there are more people, or for whatever reason. It all seems to be tied back to overpopulation.